Hello, it's the May Day edition of News at 10. We're coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adisawe, Kanda in Accra. My name is Stephen Enti. Let's start with the major news highlights of the day. President Akufo-Addo has charged leadership of organized labor to lead a crusade against poor work attitudes. Speaking at the May Day parade in Accra, the president promised to work with organized labor to transform the economy. Our General Secretary of Ghana Mine Workers Union, Prince William Ankra, praises government for the fight to stop galamsey in Ghana. He advised Ghanaians to take good care of the environment and desist from degrading the land to serve their selfish interest. The police service is asking the public to direct land and chieftaincy disputes to the chieftaincy ministries. The Accra Regional Police Commander, DCOP Osaberima Awari Asare Pinkro, is of the view that inundating the police commands with land and chieftaincy disputes distracts the service from its core duty of general security. Ghanaian mining firm Engineers and Planners says it has cleared all outstanding debts owed to SSNIT. This follows media reports that the company has been dragged to court over its failure to pay the SSNIT contributions of its workers. But in documents cited by TV3 News, it indicates that the company sought to clarify circumstances surrounding its indebtedness to SSNIT. So those were our major news highlights. Remember, we're live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/news on TV3, and also live on 3FM 92.7. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, President Akufo-Addo has charged leadership of organized labor to lead a crusade against poor work attitudes. Speaking at the May Day parade in Accra, the president promised to work with organized labor to transform the economy.
Hundreds of workers from the front representing the private and public sectors attended the May Day parade at the Black Star Square under the theme Ghana 6 Years On, mobilizing for Ghana's future through the creation of decent jobs. Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Yao-Ba, called for decent working conditions for workers.
After 60 years of independence, a significant number of Ghanaians cannot afford housing and education for their children. Many Ghanaians cannot afford basic health care. It is becoming a curse to grow old in Ghana because we are unable to take care of our elderly in our society.
President Akufo-Addo charged workers to adopt positive attitudes to enhance productivity.
While the government has work to do, we have to accept that the workforce must accept its responsibility and contribute its part. If we are going to make the changes we all want, then we have to start with a change in attitude to work. Government is ready to do its part, and I'm counting on you, Secretary General, to lead the campaign for a change in attitude to work and increase in productivity.
On galamsey, the president reiterated his resolve to fight against illegal mining while ensuring small-scale mining becomes sustainable.
We are not fighting to put people out of work by seeking to end galamsey. Since the Almighty blessed us with precious minerals, there will be mining in our country. But this present generation does not own the earth. We hold the lands in trust for generations, yet unborn, and we cannot destroy it.
He assured Ghanaians his administration will make skill development a key priority to promote sustainable growth.
Right, let's do some discussions on this. Tonight I have Dr. Ignatius Awimbono. He's the president of the Ghana Association of Biomedical Laboratory Scientists. He's joining me in the studio. Good evening, Doc, and we're grateful that you're joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. And then we also have on the telephone Seth Abloso, who is a labor expert, joining us on the telephone. Ms. Abloso, let's start with you. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Great. So the issue of productivity in the public sector has always been a big one. This was raised by the president today when he said the various labor unions must put enough pressure on their members to give off their best, as government will also do its best. Do you think this kind of description that has been given it by the president is actually what pertains on the ground, poor work attitudes?
Well, that is the president's observation. You will notice that rewards and remuneration in the public service presents a very yawning gap between Article 71 holders and others. And this kind of situation where persons come to office for 4 years and take away a large chunk, whilst people work for over 30 years and keep literally laboring without seeing any end in sight. It's worrying. And I think that remuneration in the public service needs to be looked at critically when we are talking about
you will put this to motivation in the public sector.
Lack of motivation.
If, for example, they feel that they're not being treated well enough compared to Article 71 office holders, does it really suggest that they shouldn't give off their best, the best of which they were employed?
No, it doesn't mean they shouldn't give up their best. They are giving off their best, but it's discouraging to find that, for instance, take Parliament House. There are members of staff of the parliamentary service who have been employed all these years. Another group of workers come, and they are also workers, members of parliament, for 4 years, and look at what they take away. I think that these are the motivating factors that need to be addressed. Recently, we heard in the Cocoa Board what the former chief executive was taking. We have not been told what the current chief executive is taking. But it's important to look at the relativities within the organization. And you find that there is the gap between the top and those below is too yawning to make for comfort. And I think that these need to be and quickly addressed.
Yeah. Now, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the various MMDAs, we know, have been doing a lot of monitoring and evaluation with the view to increase productivity. Is this not enough?
We haven't seen the results publicly. So you find, for instance, that staff of the judicial service have been agitating for implementing what they consider as outstanding negotiating package. And I think that these are issues that need to be quickly addressed. We accept that there must be wages in the public service, and in fact also in the private sector, which is the engine of growth, must be fair. But if fairness is our objective, to what extent are we working towards the attainment of this fairness? Yes.
This productivity benchmark. Now, you mentioned the private sector. Let's talk about the private sector a bit. In the private sector, many organizations, put CCTV cameras and things installed at entry points to be able to determine who comes in and goes out. They have strict regimes of check-in and check-out. Do you think it's time the public sector adapts some of these methods or approaches?
Oh yes, it will be important for the public service to consider instituting such measures as well. But you see, when you are instituting that, you need to adequately remunerate your employees, so that you see, we don't, like the saying goes, if you pretend to be paying your workers,
people will also be pretending to be working.
Yes.
Right.
And we know the shortfalls, and I think it's important that we address these. We know the shortfalls, and it's important that we critically address these. And I'm happy to note that the president has indicated that he'll be meeting organized labor pretty shortly to look at the issues that have been raised.
Right.
It's not enough for the two sides to speak publicly without concrete engagements thereafter.
Right, Mr. Abloso, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Seth Abloso is a labor expert, and he joined us there. So let's return to the studio, Dr. Awimbono. Thank you for joining me. I know that we have issues of the Ghana Association of Biomedical Laboratories. You are unhappy with what you call unfair placement of your members on the single spine. You're unhappy with non-implementation of agreed conditions of service. You are unhappy with quite a number of things, but we will tackle your issues. But let's focus a little bit on May Day and the issue of productivity, same issues that I raised with Mr. Abloso. Would you say the issue of productivity in the public sector is becoming an albatross on the necks of governments?
Thank you very much, Stephen, for the opportunity. I would say, as the expert said, this is the president's observation, and there are scientific methods or metrics for measuring these things. And I think he, at his higher level, has some extra information that he may be privy to. But beyond that, some of these things are also public. If it is coming out that what government is putting into as inputs, it is not getting as output. This is essentially what productivity is about. It's about efficiency. So the government is complaining that I'm putting so much, but I'm getting little out of it. And that could be what is even accounting for the fiscal deficit. The target for this year is 6.5, up from the 9% which we had, down from the 9% which we had for last year. If this is what government is saying, I think there's a need for it to put in place measures that will ensure that this is properly taken care of. I would want to say it's not a yes or no answer, but it is a system that can be improved.
So you talk about measures. Let me quiz your brains a bit. You talk about measures. You also have just mentioned it's a system that must be improved. What are these measures, and how would they impact on improving this system to get the best out of productivity from public sector workers?
Basically, for you to be able to have an improvement, you must know what your baseline is. And I'm sure the president in talking knows what the baseline is. And the improvement issues would include the issue of motivation. Some of them may not physically, may not just be salaries, but it could be the whole reward package.
It could be working conditions.
Yes, working
it could
conditions.
Be work environment.
Yes, the work
People
environment.
go to the workplace and they can't get a place to attend to the toilet, for
Steve,
example.
you've made it so easy. Even issues of health and safety is an issue. Issues of implementation of the conditions of service, which is even one of our issues we are talking. Issues of recognition, basic reward systems. And beyond that, you also have issues of supervision. Who supervises? What are the targets that must be set for each person to work? Can there be flexibilities such that we even consider situations where people can even work from homes and all that? These are things that once you are able to measure their productivity, their outputs, and also have punitive measures for those who fail.
You're talking like somebody who has hope in the public service. You have hope in the public service. You think that we could do things better and get the public service standing up again?
Yes, Steve, I have a lot of hope. What will make a private sector work that would not be inputted into the public sector and it will work? The basic thing is supervision. The biggest thing is target setting. The basic thing is monitoring of those targets. The basic thing is punitive measures against those who violate. If we have, for instance, as the president gave us the information, 13 million people employed out of the about 26 million Ghanaians. 2 of them are even in the formal sector alone. And let's say that close to 600,000 or 800,000 are even in the public sector as we talk. If they report to work 1 hour late, close from work 1 hour late, that's 2 hours a day. Multiply by that, a lot of productive hours. If they are given targets to meet, they are supervised, that even at the point of the fact that they are even at work, they are working and producing the targets that they are generating. And those targets also translate into what? Revenue, all right? To drive the whole system. Nobody will complain about inefficiencies.
Interesting. Let's shift attention to your issues. One of the things that bother you is the delay in implementation of the National Laboratory Policy documents. So over the past 5 years, that has not happened. Have you been told why past governments failed to do so and what you expect the new minister to do?
Yes, we have battled this over and over. I think there was a time we even have some encounter here. We came here to let you know about how important this document is. And it beats our imagination that a document that is supposed to ensure that you have proper rationalization of human resource, okay, for efficiency that we are talking of, productivity, is sitting on the shelves. That the same document which is supposed to protect you, to say that once you go to somewhere in Sandama, you run a test, that test will be replicated as if you run it in Kolebu through quality assurance. It's sitting on the shelves. A document that is supposed to ensure that at least quality controls are run in the labs is sitting on the shelf. A document that is supposed to ensure that laboratories are properly designed is sitting on the shelf. A document that is supposed to ensure that there's proper retooling of laboratories, so that you can, anytime you walk to the lab, you are not afraid of having service interruptions. All these documents they are sitting.
So it means that without this document, there is, maybe I should put it this way, there is no best practice systems in the laboratory technologies.
The issue is the enforceability. Because a policy is a document that clearly states that this is the long-term, medium-term vision of the government or the state or the profession, and this is what you must abide by. And once you violate them, punitive measures will be taken. Without that, once there's no law, there's no crime. Have
you lobbied the current minister to get this underway?
In fact, from your previous premise of your question, we have dealt with subsequent previous governments, and even with this new one. You would be aware that it's public knowledge. This case has been run in the National Labour Commission. The minister set up a 3-member committee. The report is ready as we talk. It was supposed to be submitted 15th of December. As we talk, we haven't seen the report. We've met the minister, we've told him we are concerned because there were 2 parties that went to the Labour Commission, the ministry versus the profession. Now, the ministry is privy to the contents of that document, and the other party that is with the Labour Commission. So we have petitioned the Labour Commission to have a copy of the report so that we can. And the minister clearly says he's committed to implementing it. But we don't know why he's dragging his feet up to date 4 months after the report has been ready.
Maybe he needs to get appraisal of a previous situation and then be able to effectively determine the way forward so that everyone is satisfied.
The more it delays, the more people are misdiagnosed. The more it delays, the more we are in danger. Can you imagine you being diagnosed as HIV when you are not an HIV patient and you've been treated for the past 3 months because there's no enforceability of a policy? This is a serious matter.
That bad.
And I think Ghanaians must, the whole
we must add our voice to push in so that this document
it is actually meant for you. The document is actually meant to protect you. The day you go on the theater table, the theater table for your heart to be opened, you need a lab result to open your heart because they will need a potassium result. As you know, if that is absent, it will be 50-50. This is how serious
I
it
realize
can
that's
be.
the big deal, but I don't want us to waste all our time. That we have 1 minute to wrap up. Now, tell me, I think one of the issues your association have is unfair placement of your members on a single spine, and also your association has issues with the non-implementation of agreed conditions of service for your members. Tell me what the way forward is.
Yes, Stephen, as we talk, it's a sad situation. We take averagely about 80% of what our colleague or analogous health workers take. This is unpardonable in a sector where we work in a team. That should not be allowed. The conditions of service have been signed, selectively implemented for other health workers, and our people are still languishing in the old state of affairs. Somebody is transferred to a place, he is not given his allowances, he has to complain, and they say there's no condition of service for you. I don't think this should be allowed. We have to engage the minister on it. In this about it, that was on the 7th of last month, and up to date, no formal invitation has been
What are you going to do? Let's wrap up on that.
Look,
what are
Steve,
you going to do?
We have sent the most serious caution to them already through letter writing to let them know that the gentlemen you see working in the lab would one day lay down their tools.
So
you're
threatening a strike?
There's a danger, because when the blood banks don't work, it's a serious matter. When the labs don't work, it's a serious matter.
Right.
And I pray that we will not go to that level, because you would probe them and let them do what they have to do.
Right, Dr. Awin Bono, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Dr. Ignatius Awin Bono is the president of the Ghana Association of Biomedical Laboratory Scientists. And I'm Stephen Enti. This is News at 10. We have more news for you. Please stay. Welcome back. Now, some porters known as Kayaye in the Accra metropolis say they're ready to quit their business and join the Planting for Food program if government will support them. They also want the one district, one factory policy expedited to enable them go back home to work on the land.
Business in Ghana has been described as one of the hazardous jobs, mostly handled by females from the northern part of the country. Most children who have withdrawn from schools in the north are pushed into the business by poverty. People who are into the kaya business earn a living by carrying heavy loads. 37-year-old Salamatu, and a mother of 3, has been in the business for years but has nothing to send home. She caters for her family at home from her weekly proceeds of 70 cedis.
Sometimes we are compelled to carry heavy loads because of poverty. We also spend our proceeds on medicine to cure the sickness we contract as a result of the loads we carry.
She said she has also initiated her daughter into the business to enable them fend for their family members in the north. A more worrying situation is the place where the Kayaye sleep. At about 11:45 Sunday night, the news team visited the Malamata market in Accra Newtown, where some of these Kayaye live. After the day's hard work, the Kayaye sleep in the open after several hours of waiting for shops to close. Their children are left at the mercy of the weather, since their mothers do not have clothes to cover them. The only clothes some mothers have serve as mats. The spate of robbery in the area also leaves them in a fear.
We are unable to sleep whenever there is a downpour. We scoop water the whole night to have a place to sleep. Sometimes thieves attack and rob us of our proceeds, so we need accommodation.
Like Salamatu, Rukaya, who said she's frustrated by the business, wants government assistance to go back to farm.
We are engaged in farming back home, so we need government to support us.
At the Central Business District, most Kayaye were seen in the rains going about their business. Kayaye here declined to speak on camera, but are equally frustrated over their business. Government recently scrapped their taxes, but they insist more ought to be done to improve their lives.
The Ghana Water Company lost 111 million cedis through water theft last year. Head of Communications Stanley Mate, who made this known, said the company has begun a special exercise to stem revenue leakages from through prosecution of corporates and disconnection of indebted customers.
In 2015, the Ghana Water Company revealed it lost 12 million cedis every month through water theft. Despite a crackdown to reverse the trend, the company recorded a 111 million cedi revenue loss last year. It has embarked on a performance improvement program to cut down on losses this year.
We have to be going around to disconnect people for lack of payment. We have had to prosecute people, and even the stealing of water as well. As at last year alone, we were losing close to 111 million Ghana cedis.
The utility provider is lamenting the negative impacts of fish farming in various water bodies, widespread illegal mining operations across the country, and sand-winning activities in water bodies on their water treatment plants across the country. According to the company, it is producing at 60% capacity because it has closed down a number of their treatment plants.
It's been noted that in the next 20-25 years, we should be importing water. But with what personally I have seen, okay, because I have been to all the 90 systems. If we continue with the rate of destruction, in less than 10 years, we should be importing water into the system.
The company says it is under intense pressure to meet national demand despite its numerous challenges.
And that's how we wrap for News at 10. I'm Stephen Anti. Thanks for staying with us. And for those of you who tuned in to 3FM 92.7, thanks for leaving your dial there. On behalf of the crew, good night. There is more news at 3news.com.